Hey there, welcome back. The topic of this training video is your warm market. So we have a warm market, which is people we know, and then a cold market, strangers. And there's also a hot market, which I guess is like immediate family, best friends, people who you don't have to worry at all about how you're phrasing things, because if you just ask them, hey, look, I am selling challenge packs and I'm one short for the month and I really need to make this goal, they'll buy it from you. Okay, that's the hot market. It's very, very few people, and I think that all of us have, somebody who we can go to at the end of the month if that happens, but you don't want to be doing that every month. Definitely that is a last resort. But that's the hot market. My husband and my dad were my two first coaches on my team. I make no secret of that, but but you'll be focusing most of your efforts in this business on your warm market and your cold market. And the video for new coach training is about the warm market, because while you're figuring out your strategy for your cold market and while you're starting to build up those relationships, because it takes some time for the cold market to get to know you. So while you're building the cold market relationships, your sales are going to come from your warm market. Those are the people who are going to be signing up for your programs in your first month as a coach, maybe even up to your first 3 months, maybe even up to a year. For me, it was my first year. Pretty much everybody was from my warm market. Now, I knew a lot of people, and it's not that that almost sounds like it's not a real business somehow, but just because someone is your friend doesn't mean that they can't benefit from using Shakeology or Insanity. So don't think of it as not real sales if they're in your warm market. These people, my dad has benefited so much from Shakeology. He needs it just as much as the person that I just met on Facebook yesterday. Okay, so don't discount your warm market. It's actually very important, and if you're getting most of your sales there in your first few months, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. So let's look at how to tap into that warm market. Now, if you went through my sneak peek week-long group, you put together a list of 21 people who could benefit from Beachbody programs. Now, I'm going to ask you to put together a list of 100, or if you really want to go for it, write out a list or put it in Excel, even better. Make a list of everyone you know. Everyone. I am not kidding. And yeah, it'll take some time and you will think of people to add later on. But get started with that list, because this is going to be the list that you work from. Then as you meet new people on social media or however you're adding these new contacts to your network, you will add those people to your list. But the list starts with your warm market. Now, Beachbody in the Coach Online Office has something called a memory jogger. Actually, it should be attached or linked in the email where you got this video. But if you don't know where that is, please email me and ask, and I'll help you find it. The memory jogger takes you through different categories of people and different contexts that you've met people in, so you can really think of everyone that you know. I didn't use the memory jogger because I was obsessed with Facebook and I was connected to everyone I ever met on Facebook already anyway. There are some people who don't use Facebook, and that was every now and then I would think of a friend oh, this person, we always have to talk on the phone because she doesn't use Facebook, so we have to talk on the phone to catch up. But then it's hard for those people too to be part of your challenge group. They're going to more need the one-on-one coaching by text message, phone call, or they still could end up using Shakeology and using a DVD program. It's just hard to be part of a challenge group if you're not on Facebook. So don't discount those people, but they are a little more complicated. So your list. So you're going to brainstorm, get this long list. Mine was over 300 people when I started. Pull out the high school yearbook, college yearbook, church directory. Think of your coworkers at your old jobs. Every place that you've lived or worked. Think of everyone you met there and knew there, and the people who've moved away from where you live now, or the people in the cities where you used to live. connect to everyone on Facebook, find out what happened to them, and put them on your list. And I really do mean this because I know that it's scary to think about approaching, like I put a lot of people on my list who I had known in high school, but I didn't necessarily think that they liked me. And probably some of them didn't, or, maybe we were just young and stupid and kids are mean, but I didn't rule anybody out. I put everyone on the list. And yeah, some conversations are harder to start than others, but I took a deep breath and I did it because I quickly found that a lot of those people were really interested in what I had been doing over the years. And this really was my favorite thing about getting into the business. Once I got past my insecurity and my shyness, then I was all of a sudden having these very meaningful, interesting conversations with people that I hadn't seen in 15 years, had no idea what they'd been up to. And it was this conversation that I was genuinely interested in, and this still happens. It just happened to me again this week. This woman had not responded to 2 messages, and I'm thinking, okay, she hated me in high school, she's going to ignore my messages. However, I also had heard recently the average customer says no 7 times before they say yes. So now I've decided, hey, if people are ignoring my messages, until I get to 7, and right now I've been at it a year and I'm only at 3 or 4 with most people, until I get to 7, I'm definitely not stopping. I mean, it really doesn't take that much time to send 5 messages a day. And if people are ignoring you, the conversation does not end up taking a lot of time. So it's very doable. And at worst, somebody is going to say, sorry, I'm not interested. I've also gotten people who come to me and say, after ignored messages, then they say, oh, I thought about it before. I'm so glad you got back to me. So they ignore the message 2 or 3 times. And then all of a sudden they're telling me, I'm so glad you emailed me this week. Those things do happen. They happen to me regularly. Believe it. It's true. So conversations are really, really important, and they're worth it. It's worth putting yourself out there. So you make that list. You've got your list of 300, or mine is now up over 500 of the original 300 plus prospects. So when I add a contact, I don't necessarily put them in a spreadsheet, but if they write back to me, if we get a conversation going, then they become a prospect. And that's when I put them on the list, which is now over 500. And these are people who I work my way down the list, 5 conversations a day. Sometimes it's an invitation. Sometimes it's a, hey, how's it going? How have you been since we last talked? But I work my way down the list, and I end up getting to each person right now about every 3 months. Sometimes I skip people because I see on Facebook that they are pregnant with twins or whatever it might be, or their dog just died, or they're on vacation when I get to their name on the list. So you have to be a little bit sensitive. Somebody's not going to sign up for a challenge group when they're on vacation in Mauritius, and they're going to think that you didn't look at their profile and you're just spamming them if you send them an invitation during their vacation week. So you got to take a quick look at their profile before you send the message. But once you have your list, it's time to start reconnecting with people and using that list. And you have to have the list so that you know who you wrote to. You remember, I make little notes and I don't always go back. Like if someone tells me, no thanks, I just purchased a gym membership. I don't always go back in the file to write the note down, but I really try to. And definitely before I message them again down the road, I definitely look back to our conversation so I can refer to it and remember what they told me. Say, how's it going with the gym membership? People will be amazed. And it's as easy as looking up in the Facebook message history or the email history. People will be amazed that you remember their kids' names, their husband's names, and all it takes is just a few seconds to read and remind yourself. So that's the basics of conversations. And the trick with the warm market, well, the trick with everyone, but especially with the warm market, is to be genuine. I think to some extent, we all use scripts where we're copying and pasting, and it's like if I'm inviting people to a challenge group using the new Beachbody On Demand workout streaming service, I have my points about how great the streaming service is, and I'm going to copy and paste that part of the message because I'm not going to want to type it 5 times in a single night or 35 times on a Saturday if I'm doing all my messages at once. It just saves time to copy and paste. But don't copy and paste the entire message. And so, hey, how's it going can be a useful intro to your conversation. But like I said, if you can ask something that refers to the person's life, it's so much more personal. So I recommend doing that. You know, if it's just starting a conversation, you can look at something on their profile, ask about their job. If they have a wedding picture, you can ask when they got married or where or how old their kids are. You can almost always find one little thing on the profile to ask about. Even just where they live. How long have you lived there? How did you end up there? There's very often, almost always, there's something you can ask about. So that is how to get the conversation started. Always ask a question. To the extent possible, it should be something that you're really interested in. And eventually, once you say, so don't just like spam them with the message, hey, I started this new business. I really appreciate your support. Wait until the conversation gets going. They ask about you. But then, yes, mention that you're a coach. Be proud of what you do. And oftentimes people will be curious about it, or they'll say, oh gosh, I really struggle with finding time to exercise, or I really struggle with eating healthy. People will bring it up and the conversation automatically turns to fitness or nutrition. Sometimes it doesn't, and it's totally up to you. So sometimes I let the conversation drop, and sometimes I have said things like, hey, I started this business page recently, and I wonder if you'd be willing to go over there and give me a like. I'm trying to build up my fan base. Or I say, hey, if I've already mentioned my coaching business, I say, hey, would you mind if I added you to my email list? I'm trying to build my list, and I promise to make it worth your while with fitness tips and free yummy recipes. Okay, always bring it back to focus on them. So you're asking them a favor, and you promise that you'll give them something in return. And also keep their email address safe. It's good to promise that too, that you won't sell it. But those are some of the ways that I have structured my conversations. If somebody posts about wanting to lose weight, needing to lose weight, or that they've lost 10 pounds, I always message them when I see that. And I say, oh, congratulations, that's awesome that you've lost 10 pounds. You must feel great. How did you do it? Things like that. So you're connecting to them and you're asking a question always. But it's good, it's a good reminder for them of the kind of business that you're in. And then from there, it's really easy to go into, do you need any more help? Is there anything you're struggling with? Hey, I have this group starting next week where we're going to work on clean eating together and it's free. Would you want to be part of it? And when I see those things, I also take notes in the Excel spreadsheet where my list is, so I can remember that Missy said she needed to lose 40 pounds, and she told me that last spring. So I can check in and just see how she's doing and how that went and if there's anything I can help with. So this is, over a year later, and I'm still very active in my warm market, and I don't feel that I've exhausted it yet. And, this is just some of the basics of how to get into your warm market and why it's important. But like I said, above all, be genuine, be yourself, have genuine conversations, because people can sense when you're phrasing things a certain way because you saw another coach post it. It has to be your voice, and that's really what's most important of all. Express interest in the other person, Be natural and genuine, and don't be shy about saying you're a coach. Be proud of it, because a lot of people will be really impressed. And you may just be getting started now, but if you do these things, you are going to have a successful business. I promise. All right, guys, let me know if you have questions. As always, good luck with your conversations. Good luck chatting up your warm market.